ATD Chronicles a little different. I'm gonna chop it up with my brother. Like we grew up together. We went through a lot of different things. We experienced a lot of different things, and through that, I was chopping it up with my brother a few weeks ago, and a homeboy of mine. You guys know I talk about him all the time. The guy from Warrior Walks, right? So, Warrior Walks. He read their letter from a few weeks ago and just said, "Hey, man, you should really come up with, a strategy for men who essentially." Maybe not trying to do entrepreneur. They just the regular 9 to 5, just got a job and trying to figure out a way to kind of make a living or make a system out of that. Because at times I feel like as a small business owner, like I said, firsthand, like you running around a million miles a minute, trying to do this, trying to go, and you might make some headway, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, quote unquote, we just use analogy like you as the tortoise, you might look at it like, oh man, that's gonna take forever. Oh man, he just going to work every day. Like that's boring. You know what I mean? But then come, what is it? Not now, but 4 or 5 years ago, right? When you first got your house, it's like, well, I got a house. And now 5 years later, the house has completely been renovated. You know what I'm saying? The house, you know what I mean? And then you got hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, you probably can attest to it. You got people that you worked with in various things who were trying to do a million things and don't even have a house. Don't even have any, like you said, using your words, the American dream, right? And it's like, dang. What am I supposed to do now? So I kind of gave the backstory or whatever. So now I'm gonna shut up and let you kind of walk us through how you turned your 9 to 5 that most people think is a trap, how you were able to, utilize your job and make it into what it is now, where it's just another tool like anybody else, like me as an entrepreneur.
What's up, y'all? Did y'all read this week's ATD letter? It's too easy, I got you. So this week's letter kind of was a little personal, right? It was personal because I chopped it up with my brother, and over the years, he and I have done a lot of similar things, done a lot of things that are a little different, but we ended up with the same result. So I posed this one as the tortoise strategy, you know what I mean? Success at your own pace. So my brother, he's attempted over the years, and it's a little hot in here today, but my brother, he took a different strategy, a different approach. I've always been a kind of against the grain, do it my own way, not really traditional 9 to 5, but he's been the opposite. And he dabbled in it for a little bit, but he had a kind of creative way on how he created a system. And I thought it was good to kind of bring it out. So this is a little different, show some clips from him and I's conversation from earlier, but let me just go ahead and get into this letter. I'm Drew, and this is the ATD Chronicles, where I unload insights from the ATD letter that goes out every week to help you engineer tools to attack the day. Transform your job into opportunity. So are you living life to make it through the day, or are you chasing something great? Too many times, too many men fall into the trap of settling for less. Sometimes you might say that you're content with meeting the needs of your family and others, and even yourself, but not really hitting your dream. And your dreams sometimes fade into the background. But what if you could change that? What if you could live a life and create a legacy that was lasting? So I decided to chop it up with somebody that I knew had done it, to figure out like how he did it, right? And I went through it with him, you know what I mean? Because we would kind of spitball ideas off of one another over the years. And at the end of the day, he had his system, he had his way of creating his family and what he was doing, and I had mine, right? And at the end of the day, we still got to the, I guess, quote unquote finish line, but in a different way. And I thought it was kind of interesting because I'm always pushing entrepreneurship and I'm pushing them, how I did it, but this is how somebody else did it with working a 9 to 5, and I thought it was kind of creative. So he was able to take his job and turn it into a resource, not really letting the job make him do things a certain way, right? So he took, like, let's just, for example, give you an example about the 401k. A lot of times in companies, they kind of put you in a position where you have to take the 401k plan and take the the cut the way they do it because they incentivize you with a certain portion of your money, right? He was like, nah. So he found out, he read, and he went against everything that they said, because as much as they pushed, no, you have to do it this way. He said, well, why? And he kept asking why until finally they had to release his funds, his money to him. So he invested it the way he wanted. So I'm gonna go ahead and read the rest from the letter, and then we'll watch some of the videos from when I talked, and then, you know, I'll give you my caveat to all that. So you may not have the luxury of endless resources or the advantages of a high-paying job, but you got something more powerful, and it's your mindset, right? So you got to stay focused on growth and purpose. So you might be somebody with a new wife, right? And dreams of going further than her family and your family, right? But you know you got to do more with that opportunity than that you have, right? And so you have to begin strategically, like my brother did.
But you working a job, how did you turn it around and transform it into giving you and your family the life that y'all have?
I don't want to make my story unique because I don't think it's really unique. But you do definitely have to have a mindset. What pushed me to look at things different was honestly my wife and my family, because I look at it like I use these jobs as a means to get what I want, like most people. But I truly look at that as like the main asset of what I want. Like, let's say I make, I don't know, $22 an hour at this one job. You can kind of see, if you know numbers, if you lived a little, you kind of can see, okay, my ceiling of getting what I want, I probably can get as far as a nice apartment, a little bit of money in the bank, and affordable car note. Okay, cool. So then you keep looking for another job, find another job, but all along the way, you putting away for your future. So whatever that may be, because obviously with more money, you can put away more and you can have a little bit more. So then you use your next job. It's like, okay, this job can sustain a house. It's this and that. I don't know what kind of house, but I can sustain a house with this kind of job. But then you get that, and then like anything else, you can now have more. Instead of one car, now you can have two cars. Still putting a little bit away, but this job can sustain more. So instead of going every day like, oh, I hate this job, because you're going to have your day you hate the job. But instead of looking at it like that, you're looking at it like, dang, this is what I'm gaining off this job. So just like they using me, I'm using them. Just like anything else, most jobs have point systems. Most jobs have like grace, whatever. You use those graces to your advantage. I'm not saying get over on the company on no trash, but like, hey, if you got a little leniency here, use it. That's what it's there for. If your job has this amount of benefits, look into the job, use it. Don't downplay what your job is offering. A lot of times you look at the job, you see benefits, see how much you pay into some benefits, then you realize, dang, I got a little more perks in that. So if I go here, they give me this percentage off. Or if I get tires from here, they give me this discount. You know, but you don't look into it, and then you lose it. Because when one dude at my job got me hit, like, I can literally go to a different gym, like a better gym than Planet Fitness, but paying the same price of Planet Fitness because of what my job offers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's looking into your job, you start using the perks of your job. Then like anything else, you get favored with people. Like what I did, I got favored with people. I got cool with people. People like me to the point where if I'm late, they not ridiculing me like, why you late? Why you? It's not that. Obviously, my job atmosphere, you know, many times I've been late. Don't trip. But in a sense, you know, it's like you build a relationship with that company because the company needs you just as much as you need them. Now, of course, they can always pick you off. But at the time, the person that's working with you, meaning like your manager, they want you there. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like oh man, they just using me. Yeah, but you're using them. You're not working hard the whole time you're there. If you are, you goofy. Why are you working so hard when you know the job? Now I can see if it's an intense job where you gotta be there working like intensely 24/7, then that's different. But you know, you gotta adjust your personality to your job. And like anything else, let's just say your job don't pay what you think you really need to. Like I used to do, because my job didn't always pay exactly what I needed. but it was a cool, comfortable job. So it was like, it's cool. And it fit my family for the lifestyle we was trying to live. So on my way home, we needed extra money because we kept having kids. You know how many kids I got. That I had to Uber on my way home because I live like almost 45 minutes to an hour away, depending on traffic, going home from work. So instead of wasting time in traffic, I'm gonna be dreading the home ride home anyway. I might as well get paid while I did it. So I used to drive over my way home, and then a lot of times, like say if we had a toilet go out or something go wrong in the house, a lot of times that Uber money was able to fix that while we kept doing what we've been doing.
Yeah.
So like you know how most households are. Now that budget can be, hey man, we eating fast food today. Now everybody wants to eat healthy, so that's cool. But when you know you have your days where people don't feel like cooking, hey, this you got money to spare and you're not stressing. So
Yeah.
it's really having what people call it now emotional intelligence, but I say you just have to be self-aware. You really got to look at this is your life. You get one shot at this for what we know.
Mm-hmm.
Take control over what you can take control of. That sounds so cliche, but it's true. If you know you make $800 a week, you build a lifestyle that mirrors $800 a week, and you don't waver from it. Then you find, like I used to tell people, if everybody thinks that you shoot your shot at what you doing is corny and don't think, you find a corny broad that like what you doing, and then y'all build from that. And eventually she'll either hop on board or she may push you to do more because you see how much she's riding with you. Like, man, I kind of want to do more for her. You're not just for her, but because you're going to upgrade too. But all that stuff plays a part. And then our last thing I'm going to say with the 401k, once you learn how to invest, you realize, but once you see, if you learn how to work the 401k, once the 401k, you learn how the 401k work, you can I would say, put the minimum in that you can. This is once you learn how the stock market works.
Yeah.
And then you invest what they was willing to invest for you in your own brokerage. So then you learn how not only to invest because you put your money in, you learning. And then also too, it's more of a foundational built like, okay, I'm taking this risk. So I need this to count. So that's gonna make you do diligence on the companies you invest in. But then honestly, you'll probably make more money than the 401k will, because the 401k is giving you a percentage off of what they ultimately made off your money.
Mm-hmm.
So you cutting out the middleman. But that don't mean you still don't use a 401k, because you still have to put a minimum amount to it. Most jobs make you kind of put a minimum in it now. But now when you retire and you can't touch it, you gonna have that money, and you're gonna be able to put whatever they was willing to put in your account. Now you can do it yourself and you can see it per se. So now if things going left, you can take it out and put it in something else. So it's just a matter of a mindset, man. It's not easy. I'm definitely not gonna say it's not easy. I'm not gonna say that. I mean, it's hard. It's hard, but it's more rewarding, you know. And like they say, anything worth fighting for is work.
Yeah.
And this is the life, man. Especially for the men, like this is your life.
Yeah.
Stuff that's gonna really affect you. You might want to learn about how it works for you, or how it don't work for you. What they say, I learned I kind of knew this already, but somebody, you know, the way it is nowadays, people have titles for the things that you think about or situations you run into. Mm-hmm. But somebody said it, I think it's on YouTube, so profound. Your biggest investment is gonna be that wife of yours. So if you get married, if you have a terrible life per se, might be who you invested in.
Yeah.
Because if they not helping, they not encouraging, or they just don't bring nothing that you can use to your advantage to the table, meaning, let's say her beauty. Maybe her beauty fuels you to work harder. But you be smart once you get it, then, or vice versa. Maybe she just as hard working as you. So y'all both put what you got together. But like anything else, you getting married to this person, so it should mean something. It should be able to flourish for your good. Because even if you want to put it on some man-woman stuff or an old-fashioned way, she helping you. So why you ain't using her to help you? You know what I'm saying? It's not supposed to be the other way around. You helping her where she got everything and you just tag along help. She's there to help you. So how are you using her to help you? And most women want to be helped. They don't want to be not helped.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you do fool for marriage. But that's just my thoughts though. But I know I kind of went on something else, but that's kind of where that 9 to 5 guy kind of goes.
To piggyback off of some of the things that you were saying, especially in regards to like the 401k and them putting their minimum in, or you having to put a minimum in, and you taking that money. So for those of you that are not into the stock market and don't understand, my brother basically is saying is like, if you take, let's just
they make you put in 3%.
Okay, so they make you put in the 3%, the minimum, right?
Yeah.
And they match it usually, right? Sometimes, or?
Well, my job do profit sharing, so, but yeah.
Okay, so they match it. So then let's say ideally like they were putting in, I don't know, that 3% equals to about $200, right? But normally most times when people put in like $400 or whatever a month, and what my brother did was he only put in the bare minimum. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that extra $200, $250, whatever it was that he would have normally put in, he took that and put it into his bank account, right? And so
brokerage.
Yeah, his brokerage account. And so what he did was, so in the stock market or just on E-Trade or any of these websites, brokerages, you can set up your low and your high. So you have like a low peak of that stock's purchase price, right? So let's just use like Tesla or something. Like if Tesla's usually on average going for, I haven't looked at it in a while, but let's just say $353. I think it's way more than that now, but $353, right? That's like its usual average. But we know like yearly, somewhere down the line, it drops down to 270, right? So you would typically want to wait to buy it when it got as close to that 270 as possible. So that way, when it shot back up to its average of 350, you know what I'm saying? You've made a profit of at least $120. And that's what maximizes your money. So what he's saying is if you take it upon yourself, it's harder because you have to do all that work to figure that out, right? But the reward is better because at the end, as you continue monthly, now we're talking about you putting all that money in your brokerage account monthly. Every time, whatever stocks, whatever ETFs, whatever accounts you want to invest your money in, every time you invest it on the low end, when they're low, you're making money every time they go back up to their average. And that's a better windfall in your direction versus when you deal with a 401k, they're taking a lump sum of your money and they're investing all of it. And not just yours, they're investing the whole company. They got an account. Each business is an account for them. So, let's just say, this company that I'm using right here, Lifty will initially, as an account, have like 500 million, whatever, so employees, and they each are getting that $400 plus maybe a month that they're investing. So they're taking all that money to the bank. And because they're taking all that money to the bank, they're cutting you off. They're breaking you off something, but it's not going to be as much as it would be if you did it on your own. They're giving a pot off the collective. So if that company makes a big increase for that year of, let's just say 20% for the year, you're not going to see that 20%. You know what I mean?
5%.
You're going to see a 5%. And then that company's going to get a cut. And then the company they invest in is going to get a cut,
Because you like break, like this, so the 9 to 5 guys, they either matching or they doing 5% because Drew just said, you go by Drew right on here?
Yeah, you good. Man.
Okay. But I know I just messed up the whole thing by saying.
No, you good, man. You good.
But and think about it. If you made 20% off of what your money was, but they're only entitled to give you 5% because that's what they said they was gonna do. So that can mess up long term with what you really put in. Mm-hmm. If ideally you make it 20% every year off of this investment, this is the reason why they can. Hey, we said we match up to 5%. That's all they're willing to give you. They're not gonna give you the whole 20% you made. They've actually made off your money. And then also too, another thing for you guys that do end up maybe listening the route of what I'm saying, if you put it in dividends, it'll also help you too because it'll be more of an income for you when you retire. So that's all everybody kind of is worried about. So yeah, like anything else, 401k is gonna give you a check a month. They're not gonna just give it to you all at once. No different than if you do it now, you can kind of see where your monthly is. So let's just say you put $250 a week or every month, however you do it, into this dividend stock. Then let's say over 20 plus years, now you getting an income of about $2,800 to $3,500 a month. You seeing that progress go as you do it, on top of what they're gonna give you when you retire, plus your Social Security if they're still around, and if you've been, doing something like buying a house and things like that, you're gonna have equity. There's so much stuff you will actually have to use when you retire. So don't be scared that you can't do it. You just gotta take your time and figure it out. That's why I said dividends, because you'll see the money. You won't be hoping for it, you will see it every month or every quarter.
Facts. Yeah, so that's good. So yeah, I think honestly, man, it's so much information, it's so impactful. And I ain't trying to turn this into one of those like 19 keys where we gonna hear for 3 hours, because we can talk all day. But we definitely gonna do this again. And I think next time that's probably what we'll do. We'll chop it up. So let us know in the comments if you want more financial literacy, more kind of strategies on how from a 9-to-5 perspective and an entrepreneur perspective, how you can make your money work for you. Your money should be working for you in your sleep. And he has a perspective and I have a perspective, and those two perspectives can come together and really help you out. A fool and his gold are easily parted. And you got to know what you're talking about and do the research to make sure that you're not parted from your money. So we're gonna end it on that.
To get the job done. So, for instance, at the timeline he was working at Target. And that paycheck wasn't enough. Now he was high up on the food chain, I guess they call it ETL, one step away from coming to like a district manager or something. So he was high up, but still it wasn't enough to do what he wanted. So he still wanted his wife to be a stay-at-home, stay-at-home woman, and still be able to chase or go after some of the ideas and things that she had that would also catapult their family and their life into the next level. And this is before he had kids. He had this plan set out, this vision way ahead of time. So my brother decided to take jobs at Uber, second jobs at Lowe's, anything he could to make extra income so he could get the house he wanted, so he could pay for the cars he wanted, and do everything that he wanted to set his family up. But he came with a certain level of sacrifice. No movies, no dates, no none of that. They had to hunker down and stay focused on what their goal was. So this is how they were able to leverage, right, and become more financially free, setting standards and cutting costs that, not taking vacations and doing what everybody else is doing on the gram all the time, faking the funk, right? So doing this allowed him to get a new level of success, right? He was able to buy a home, build some equity in that home, get vehicles that were paid off, and live a life that allowed him and his wife and then my future nephews to live more financially free than the average man who might still be working that same job that he had at the time, or since he's moved on and done other things, right? But still is trying to figure out how to make it. So by setting financial standards, this is how you're able to do it. So I put down and put some actionable steps based off of what him and I discussed on how you can do it. So this is how you turn your job into a legacy. So number one, right? You want to set financial standards. Prioritize saving and investing over spending on temporary pleasures. All right. Number two, leverage your side income. Use additional jobs or gigs as a way to stack money and not just survive, but to thrive. Right. And last, number three, you got to shift your mindset. Right. If you shift your mindset and understand that your current job is just a season in the progression of who you are and your self-development. I push heavily about how your job, how entrepreneurship, all of that is just part of your self-development journey as a man, right? So every season has its purpose. So don't get stuck and just keep moving forward, right? And so it's funny because, real talk, as an entrepreneur and all the things I've done in my life, sometimes you get kind of on that tortoise and the hare, when you're an entrepreneur at times, you might be moving 1,000,000 miles a minute, right? And sometimes I always talk about how entrepreneurship can be a tool to help push you forward in self-development. But so can your job, right? So you don't want to sell yourself short on that. So I hope that you enjoyed this week's ATD lesson, and I hope that these actionable steps and hearing from somebody else who isn't just me every week allowed you to kind of get a different perspective on how you can turn your job, entrepreneurship, or whatever you're working on and push yourself to the next level and build the legacy that you always wanted. So the road ahead is long and hard. No place for the weak. You must be a warrior. Attack the day.